Hello class, my name is Chris Bass. This is Fundamentals of Public Speaking, Communication 101, and this is my process speech. Okay. Today I'm going to tell you guys about how to throw a curveball. I know a lot of you maybe have watched TV and thought to yourself, how does a baseball curve, or how does it break? Well, there are actually two things that cause that curveball to break. The first thing that causes a baseball to break is the rotation. The faster a ball rotates, meaning the faster the baseball spins in a downward motion, is one of the facets that causes the baseball to break. The faster this baseball spins, the greater chance you have to see a baseball break. The second thing is air resistance, meaning how much humidity is in the air, how thick is the air. Is there a wind blowing in at my face? So when I throw this baseball, is there a wind coming at me? If the wind's coming at me, it's going to help this baseball have more break to it. So with that in mind, what are the techniques? How do you get yourself to throw a baseball and make it curve? Well, the first technique that I always taught people was grip. You have to decide what kind of grip you want to use on the baseball. For me, the best grip has always been to put your middle finger on one of the long seams. There's 4 long seams on a baseball. Put your middle finger on the long seam. You want to cradle this baseball, not stick it deep in your hand, but have a little bit of air in between it. This allows for greater velocity. This allows for greater control. Okay? The second thing when talking about throwing a curveball that is extremely important. Okay? Now that I know what my grip is, now that I know what it takes to hold the baseball and how I'm holding it, now I got to decide as I'm going in to make a pitch how far my strides should be. So, as if I were throwing a fastball, I'll get my stride a little bit farther. Okay? It's very important when you throw your curveball to cut down on your stride a little bit. So for me, as I throw a curveball, I have to remember that I want to cut down on my stride a little bit. This keeps me from getting my body weight out over my front leg. What this helps with my body weight back, it allows for my arm to come through and for my arm to stay on top of the baseball. It's very important not to let your body weight get out over your front leg, because it's hard for your arm to get on top with your body weight down on your front leg. So then this takes me to the third technique that is important when throwing a curveball. This is the movement of my arm, okay? Now when I talk about my arm movement, okay, everybody thinks this is the only thing that's important when throwing a curveball. Not necessary. The thing that's important about arm movement is now that I got the grip, I know what my grip is. Now that I know that I want to cut down on my stride, okay, the next thing is my arm movement. If I allow my elbow to drop, then I'm not going to be able to get on top of the baseball. So for me, it's very important that you have to make sure you have a good grip, you have a good stride, and I want to keep my elbow, when I get to the release point, my elbow needs to be at least parallel with my shoulder. This allows me to get on top of the baseball. This allows me to drive the baseball down, and this is going to allow for the baseball to have a greater spin. The spin of the baseball is going to be greater if I can get on top of the baseball. Okay? So now it leads me to the fourth and the final thing. It's very important when throwing a baseball. Okay? The grip, you know what it is. You know that you want to cut down on your stride. You know that you need to keep your arm, your elbow, at least level or parallel with your shoulder, which gives you the greater velocity. And then the next thing you need to remember is a follow through. This is very important for all pitchers and all pitches. As I follow through, I want to make sure that once I release this baseball, which is going to be here, I want to make sure that I come down and take this arm across my leg. What this does is it makes me concentrate on coming through completely. So not only I'm not stopping my arm here, I want to get that spin. I want to make sure that I know I'm going to get the greatest amount of spin by taking my arm all the way across my front leg. So now that we've gone through the 4 major techniques that are important. The grip, the stride, arm movement, and the follow through. Those are the 4 things that are important when throwing a curveball that you need to concentrate on. One thing that you need to understand when knowing when to throw a curveball is that a curveball puts great strain on your elbow. A lot of people have had a lot of arm trouble because they threw too many curveballs. A lot of younger kids have arm trouble because they start throwing curveballs. So it's very important to know that when throwing the curveball, knowing the right techniques and the right fundamentals is one thing, but to not throw too many or to throw too early, because this puts an incredible strain on your arm and causes your arm to have future or potentially have future problems and possibly even leading into surgery. Thank you guys.